Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's World AIDS Day Remembrance Session, sponsored by Amida Care and facilitated by our team here at Reforum Consulting. We have amazing panelists, a discussion that we'll start with you today, just to discuss our resiliency, our whole coping and how we've been handling everything that has come our way. So if everyone is on mute and can remain on mute, we'd like to open up today's remembrance session with a brief moment of silence. And that will begin now. Thank you all. Thank you all for joining in with us for today's World AIDS Day event. Again, today's event is sponsored by Amida Care. Amida Care is New York City's largest special needs health plan, specifically designed for New Yorkers affected by HIV. And today, we just really want to join in, even though World AIDS Day was on the 1st, we want to just move forward in honoring all of our members, our loved ones, those we may have worked with, those we may encounter in our walk in this journey in this life. And as we know, World AIDS Day is an international day just dedicated to raising the awareness of the HIV and AIDS pandemic caused by the spread of the HIV infection and those mourning and those who have passed of this disease. I know we've been currently dealing with the COVID pandemic, but we still want to bring awareness, education, and information, as well as resources to our community regarding the HIV infection and the AIDS virus. One thing we want to do is just say that we are proud New Yorkers. We are resilient. We stand firm in the face of anything. And even though this is an international day, we are a New York City-based organization. So we just want to talk about our resiliency and commemorating this day and of what we've gone through, the things that we have used to cope, to get through, some mechanisms and resources. We have some great organizations that will be on today: National Black Leadership on Health and Translatinx as well, who will be informing us of their organizations and the great things they're doing within community, as well as giving us some resources and tools in where we can go, who we can speak to, and just how to navigate our own care at times, right? We know this HIV epidemic will not be over for those who are living with this virus until we continue to model our Amida Care's model of care, which is really focused on communities that are disproportionately served and those mainly impacted by the virus, especially communities of color and those within the LGBTQ communities. We can't continue to stress enough how much we need to further education around the virus, as well as food options, living wage jobs, stable housing. I mean, I can go on and on with what else we need to do to provide our community, not just with health options, but options that ultimately affect their entire well-being. We're talking about mental health options. We're talking about housing. We're talking about navigating their own healthcare. And how do we do that without sessions like this that is showing community and teaching community how to access these things, letting us know who our community partners are. So I just wanted to start off today's session by just giving a little bit about who we are here at Amida Care. I will go into it again later on in the session, but I didn't want to take up too much time with our discussion that will be started by the team here at Reforum Consulting. I have on Vicky, Taimi, and Javanya with Reforum Consulting today, who's going to lead an interactive session. So feel free to join in and speak. I know the ladies will take it away and they'll handle this whole session. So I'm going to step back and I'm going to hand it over to the team here at Reforum Consulting for them to give you a warm welcome and introduction. But again, this is a fully engaged session where we will all be on and we will all be asked to participate, to have great conversation and learn great tools and resources for today. So thank you, ladies, it's all yours.
Thank you, Sandrine, for that amazing and warm, welcoming introduction. You touched on so many poignant points that we're going to be discussing today, and just some of the goals that we hope to really accomplish and get through today. As you mentioned, we are the ladies of Reforum Consulting. I know my thing is backwards, we'll figure that out. But yes, I am Vicky Jocelyn of Reforum Consulting, and these are my partners, Taimi Gaston and Javanya Smith. And we've been operating Reforum Consulting for the past 4 years, where we've created brave and safe spaces for companies and organizations to come, as well as persons to come and just have share their particular views and ideas in a very safe and brave space. Our vision is centered around engaging, empowering, and helping people to envision the goals that they would like to see for themselves. And we do that through curated conversation. If you are not following us on social media, we also ask to stay connected with us, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram, so that you can continue to follow and get wellness tips as we drop them daily. Thank you so much for having us in your space. And we're gonna have a really, as Sandrine shared, a very interactive and immersive workshop. We are facilitators, however, we are not experts of your lives. We leave that to you so that we can learn from each other. It takes one to teach one and to learn from one another. And so that's the spaces that we like to create and facilitate here. So no one is an expert, just be comfortable in the conversation, and we'll be definitely welcoming everyone into the space.
Thank you, Vicky. Again, my name is Javanya. It's such a pleasure and honor to be in the space today and community with you all this afternoon. I'm looking forward to this conversation. As someone who probably doesn't have all the facts and information I need in order to be informed completely as well, I'm happy to learn from you all and from the organizations who are going to be present today. And again, we have Taimi Gaston, who is here in the space.
Hello.
So we're going to start with our space agreements actually before we check in, because in order for us to have the conversation that Vicky and Sandrine talked about, there are some space agreements that we have to agree to in order to create that brave and safe space. So really quickly, if you've been in community with us before, we go over them all the time. But for our new people who are a part of our community today, be mindful of your needs. For some people, this conversation can be absolutely liberating. You're probably like, finally, I get the opportunity to talk about this. Whereas other people, the conversation can be a little painful. So just make sure you're being mindful of your needs, both physically, if you need water, or emotionally, if you just need to step away from the conversation. If it gets too much, certainly feel free to do that. So avoid generalizations and I statements. I'm happy to see about 20 unique faces here and boxes, black boxes here. But we want to make sure we honor our own individual experience with regards to what we're going to be talking about today. One mic, as Sandrine said, and if y'all been in community with us before, we are not talking for 45 minutes at all. We want you all to come off mute to share, and to definitely be a part of the conversation. This is a judgment-free zone. Y'all know how Amida Care and Reforum does. We are not judging in these spaces. We're here to support each other. We're here to sprinkle glitter, not shade. So let me see everybody glitter fingers. Alex, Anthony, John. John, I don't see your glitter fingers. Just lift the hand. There we go. Yes. Sprinkle glitter, not shade. Jackie, I know you doing it. You got really good glitter fingers. So we sprinkle glitter, not shade, in our spaces. It's too much shade going on in the world as it is. We're not gonna do that when we get together. Make space, take space, hold space, as well as be present. Sandrine, nobody was forced to be here today, right? No. Okay, good. So with that being said, everybody's here for a reason. Everybody wants to be a part of this community today. And those are the best spaces to get this work done because people want to be here, right? Be present, be mindful of intent versus impact. Be open to hearing the things that you say, even though you did not intend it to be hurtful. Just be open to hearing how people hear it and receive it. And as for literacy moments, I know Javanya is going to need some literacy moments, especially when the experts come on, because this is something that's constantly evolving and we all have to continue to learn and ask questions in order to get the clarity and the knowledge we need to be informed. And anticipate discomfort and lack of closure. We have about 40 minutes at this point, which is certainly not enough time to talk about HIV and AIDS, which is such a vast and large topic. Continue to do the work after the space ends today, whether that's through your own research or just continue to connect with other communities who are having conversations about HIV and AIDS. So if everybody's cool with that, we could just get a thumbs up. Okay, perfect. Virtual thumbs up for people who aren't on camera. And certainly we've been in this virtual space for like 2 years. We get it. But if you have an opportunity, if you feel comfortable, please turn your cameras on. We love talking to faces, not boxes. But thanks, Elizabeth. Yeah, see, sometimes you just got to invite people to the camera. They're like, should I turn it on? Should I not turn it on? Turn it on. Yes, you can turn it on for sure. Thank you. So I think we have a number of people here, and Sandrine, I don't know if you wanted to hear from folks individually as a check-in, but I think we should probably just hear from a couple people. What brought you to the space today? What motivated you to show up today when you saw the topic? Like, why are you here? So if you feel comfortable, you can put it in the chat as well. Timmy, Vicky, Sandrine, Alex in the chat, holding it down. But I love to hear from some folks about, it's 3:30 on a Wednesday and you're here. What motivated you to be here? Nicole, I think you're looking for that unmute, and there you go. I knew it. I got eyes all over the Zoom.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm really honored to be with you, with all of you. Thank you so much, Sandrine, for having me over. And also, I invite a lot of people from my community, for the TGNC community, for Translatinx, because this is a matter that this is an issue that, that has to be addressed. And we all being affected by AIDS. We got friends, family. I lost so many friends back in the 90s. I'm not that young, I'm older. So it's very sad, and I'm just glad we're going to honor their memories. They might be gone, but not forgotten. And we have to remember each and one of you that they had passed away due to the pandemic, the AIDS pandemic. But I'm just glad that we're going to honor them today, and we're going to talk about the resources that we got for the community. And as much as you guys help us so much with the DGNC community. So thank you so very much for all the work you do in the community. It's amazing. Thank you. And thank you for having me, of course.
Thank you, Nicole, for the energy. I love it. We got to connect. I need that. Anyone else? What motivated you to be a part of this conversation today? We're just interested, just for us to get started and see what we're grounded in.
I'll go.
Okay. Anthony, we're going to get you right after Evelyn.
Yes. Okay. My name is Evelyn, and I'm with the National Black Leadership Commission on Health. I am here today because the title of the event just resonates with me. It's been 2 years of trying times for the world globally. We are not at the end of one epidemic, then a pandemic strike, and the resilience of the world, the togetherness of the world, how we all came together to accomplish one mission, and we still fighting towards that. So when I saw the title, I was like, why not? Let me just go, because we are in this together.
Yeah,
I
We
love it,
are.
Evelyn.
that's good, Evelyn. Thank you.
It's definitely the theme of the day. We are in this together. And Evelyn, I really love that you elevated that point, and we definitely want to highlight that for today. Anybody else who wants to introduce themselves and share why they're in the space today?
I think
Anthony's
Anthony wanted to
Anthony,
go
yeah.
next.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anthony Randolph. I'm with Harlem United and Amida Care. I'm here today because I want to be that sponge. I want to get as much information as I can to take back to my community, because the more information you have, the better you are at making decisions, and information empowers you. And we stand on the shoulders of a lot of people that passed away. And I think that we owe them an honor to get this done, to really get it done. And I would like to see the urgency and the forefront of everyone that they put into the covert, put into the care of HIV and AIDS.
Mm,
Mhm.
I love that.
Mhm.
I love that just whole idea of being a sponge, and everything that we receive is supposed to be turnkeyed and delivered to other people to keep the work going. So I love that you feel obligated to share whatever you learn. So thank you, Anthony. So do we have any in the chat?
I think we have a hand
Johnny.
raised. There is one hand raised.
John Wright.
Yeah, Mr. Wright, yes.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Why am I here? I'm actually a lobbyist and I represent Amida Care as one of our clients, but that's not why I'm here. I've been in this, I buried partners 30 years ago that died of AIDS. I've buried friends, co-workers, and sometimes it's nice to come to something where I'm not known, just to sit with people and just remember. So that is exactly why I'm here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. And I like that because we're not, although we're very interested to learn why you all are here, the larger takeaway from this process is determining our why. And our why is very important. So whether it's with regards to this work surrounding HIV and AIDS, but just in general, why do we do the things we do? Why do we show up? Which will also continue to keep us grounded when things get hard, just understanding our purpose and our why. So I thank you for elevating that, John. We got a couple hands.
Yeah, I think Elizabeth, you're next.
Oh, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Elizabeth Gordon Dudu. I'm originally from South Africa, and I've been in the US for 4 years now. And my why is, I was just going through my text messages, and my 14-year-old daughter receives a text message on my phone, some invites. I think it's from Amida Care. And it showed the World AIDS Day event. And I'm like, wow, I would like to see what is this happening right now, 3:30. I quickly said, I hope I'm not too late. And I quickly just clicked and I saw, oh, there's somebody talking. And I'm just happy to be here, to be in touch, to know where we're coming from. It's been a long journey. Some of us have been in the field for over 30 years, like the previous speaker just mentioned. We've lost so many along the way through the very same topic, HIV, AIDS. And I just want to see what is the latest information out there, because I've lost a bit of touch in the 4 years since I've been here. I'm a little bit out of the actual activism, realm. So just to keep in touch and know where I can chip in, know how to give back, to the communities wherever you are, So I'm here and I want to see how I can best give back. And I also do women's movement, coordinate a global women's movement. Actually, it's mainly focusing on Cape to Cairo all corners of the African continent. And just also trying to see how, from this platform, I could maybe report back on the global platform as to what is happening with the World AIDS Day this year, because I don't remember, attending any in these past 4 years since I've been here, like we used to in the past. We used to look forward to World AIDS Day, and you had events and activities all. Sorry, that was just a interruption of a call. So I just want to get back on track and do what I do best, which is educating people on HIV and AIDS awareness and the latest trends, what's happening with the medications and so forth, and what is out there for people who are having side effects from the medications, from the drugs.
Mhm.
So I'm here to learn from everybody. It's just nice to be with new people, new faces. I don't know none of you, yeah, I'm sure.
You have a new community with us all, Elizabeth. Don't worry. Take some names down, put your email in the chat. You said so much that I think people in the space could benefit from, either just your organization or just the wealth of knowledge that you share, that you have. So welcome to the space. We certainly are happy to see everyone. Just continue to stay grounded in our whys, whether you're grounded through just a remembrance of folks that we've lost or just through your own resilience through this process. So thank you, everyone,
I think we have
for sharing. I know there's some in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to honor the persons in the chat as well, just to make sure that we're getting everybody. So one introduction from Kelly Salvador. Hello, my name is Kelly Salvador, pronouns she and hers. What inspired me today to join this group is it's to build more knowledge in a topic that's going to help me to know more specifically with more advanced skills to follow for anyone that might be in the process of the condition or to help others to enroll to prevent getting any risks. So Kelly, sounds like you're here to learn some resources, make some connections, which is definitely the right place to be, because as we heard, there's so many amazing organizations that are present here today, not only to lend their expertise, but also to just lend their time, which is what is the running theme here today, just to be in community with each other and to learn from one another. So definitely the space, Kelly, for that. Everyone else, like Javania said, let's stay connected. Let's get connected. Put your information in the chat. Let's keep the conversation going. We can always save and send the chat later, so everyone stays connected. So let's build bridges today.
Hey, Vicky, I just wanted to jump in and piggyback on what you were saying about the chat. I thank everyone for sharing such beautiful things, such honorable things. And it is a day of remembrance. It's not just one day in our year, it's throughout our lifetime. So please continue to use the chat to not only connect with one another, but to call out our ancestors, our loved ones, our friends, family, coworkers. Let's say their names. Let's put it in the chat. Let's, let their memories live on, something great, a story, whatever you feel like sharing with us today, it is the space to do so. And the chat is here for you. Thank you. I see so many people have already, shared information. So I just wanted to let you know that that is available. And if anyone is Spanish speaking and you may have a question, feel free. Alex, if you're on, could you just wave? Alex can definitely help you with any questions in Spanish if you have.
Thank you, for sure. And thank you for elevating that, Sandrine. Folks in this space do not need an invitation. If you feel moved to just celebrate and honor our ancestors and those folks, so you could drop it in the chat. Raise your hand if you feel moved, if you just need to say it as well. We will be able to honor that. So we know that you all have some experts in the space, Nicole and Evelyn, who are going to come on and talk a little bit more about stats and some more like tangible knowledge. But for Reforum Consulting's purpose today is just really allow you all to have a space to acknowledge your feelings, to reflect upon these things. And again, if you've been in the community with us before, we love reflections. We love putting it back on the people in the space because, like Vicky said, we're not the experts. We don't know how you feel. And really the large part about any work is just awareness piece, right? Just understanding how you show up and how these particular things make you feel. So I hope folks have something to write with, because we love check-ins, we love brain dumps. So if folks aren't familiar with brain dumps, it's typically like a 2-minute process that you can engage in. Most folks do it in the morning. We know that a lot of times we have so much stuff happening up here that it can be it can be really overwhelming. So the idea behind a brain dump is to take all of our thoughts and all of our anxieties out of our head and put it on paper. Even if it's only for a couple minutes, it can feel a little bit relieving to some people. So for our purposes, for our conversation, we're going to do a brain dump surrounding HIV and AIDS. So I'm going to go to our prompts. We're going to give you 2 minutes to sort of look over the prompts. And as you see them here, there's six sort of spaces that you could sort of reflect on. The idea is intentionally short. You're supposed to think of the first things that come to your mind. So we have I need, whether you need clarity around terms, I will, who you're centering, which is important. Who are you thinking about in this conversation? Are you thinking about yourself? Are you thinking about your clients? Are you thinking about folks you've lost? I love, I hope, and I feel. So we're gonna put about 3 minutes on the clock, the timer, play some soft music just so that we can start to reflect around the content, right? We're here to talk about HIV and AIDS. Let's process that. So go ahead. So we're gonna first invite everyone to take a breath. Okay. So we want to hear from folks about that check-in. We like to start with the process just with regards to how 3 minutes uninterrupted hopefully felt, just checking in with yourself, but also what came up for you. So if anyone's ready and comfortable, you can start.
Well, Giovanni, I will go to give you guys an example. The process of this honestly is needed. I don't know about anybody else who takes time, out their day for 3 minutes straight, uninterrupted, to focus on a subject like this, to think about, the past, the present, how it's affecting yourself, your family, the community. What can you do as a person? What do you need? How can you be a part of the process? And even like the question about, who am I centering or thinking about during this time? Like, it's something that is rare for most people. But I really enjoyed the process of this because it got me to, be more clear around the, inequalities around the topic. Someone mentioned earlier today about literally COVID-19 was a thing, the pandemic. Literally no one ever mentioned like HIV, AIDS, or any other thing, epidemics during that whole entire time. So thinking about that also.
Okay, thank you, Timmy. Anthony?
Yes, I just looked at each one and thought, and I started with I need more. We need more information. We need more time. We need more of everything. I put power and strength. We have to have power. We have to have will to stay strong. I feel sadness. I feel hope, disparity, and I feel light because hopefully there is light at the end of the tunnel. Hope, I hope the end is near. Who I centered on was everybody whose shoulders I'm standing on. Because I didn't get here by myself. I'm standing on people's shoulders that I don't know if they ever know that we will appreciate everything they done. And for love, I put all, present, past, and future.
I love it. That was super powerful, Anthony. Thank you for sharing. Other folks who want to share, if we could hear from about 1 or 2 other people, that would be really nice.
I can go. I'd like to share.
Okay, Sandrine.
I need more information and resources, like more education on the topic, right? I feel that there's still much more to do. I will take the approach to start with me, right? Because each one teaches one. If I'm finding out this information, it is my obligation and duty to pass it on to others. I hope that our community can continue to be resilient and be just have new ways of how we look at things, how we go about things, new approaches, right? What worked 2 years ago is not going to work today. We're in a totally new space, right? And I love community. I love to see when we all come together on a like-minded topic to continue to see what else is needed, what we can do, and just add each of our own special uniqueness to the pot. And I'm centering my thinking really on me, like, what can I do? What's my role? I have my part to play. So that's my focus right now.
I love it. Now, when you were doing it, was there any particular one that you jumped out at first? Like, I know exactly how I'm gonna respond to that one.
No, I
Okay.
think I want to say maybe the I love, because we are in a holiday season as well, where you get in the spirit of people and family. So I look to that one first. And to me, this community in itself is my family, right? So that's why I chose I love community, because it encompasses everyone.
Okay. I love it. I love that so much. Thank you, Sandrine. Anyone else would like to share on that point? Alex, I see you shaking your head. You moving around. You want to add?
Sure, I'll add. The first one I need more. That's so funny that Anthony said it, because that's what's my exact sentiment. I need more information. I need more resources. I need more to be done. That I feel optimistic. I feel optimistic about what we're doing here. I feel optimistic about what we've been trying to do to end this epidemic. I feel optimistic that there will be an end at some point. I will try to do more, to do my part, to make sure that I contribute. I hope for a cure and an end to this epidemic. I love the resiliency of those who fought and struggled and just continue to get by and do what they have to do just to live. Who am I thinking about? I'm thinking about all those people that fought and lost, but we'll continue the fight for them.
That's good. Thank you for sharing.
Alex, and I want to challenge you, Alex. I know you say you will try, but just by you being here today, you are actually doing.
Yeah.
I want you to say, I will do, and really change that mindset, because you are already doing some work right now. And we need to acknowledge that, and we need to celebrate even the small victories of things that we do. So.
Right. For sure. Definitely. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everyone. And this is something that you could continue to check in with on yourself. If you want to take a picture of it, you can do this activity next week, and how you feel and what you need might change, because we're human and we're allowed to change, right? So continue to check in with yourself, continue to check in with your why. Those two things combined will continue to keep us grounded as we continue to have challenges, as things continue to change, just to stay grounded, right? So we know that there are a lot of various different feelings and emotions and thoughts pertaining to this topic that are in the space. And we're just wondering if people can drop 1 or 2 words in the chat with regards to like the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear HIV or AIDS. Just 1 or 2 words, drop them in the chat. And again, this is a non-judgmental space. It cannot be based on your own feelings, but what comes to mind when you think of these two, when you think of HIV and AIDS. So drop them in the chat.
And we had a mentee ready, but I think we could do names with the mentee.
Well, yeah, okay. What are some things that's coming to mind? Okay.
All right, the chat is getting hot now. So as we're thinking about words that come to mind, just doing some word association, when we hear AIDS, when we hear HIV, Elizabeth wrote, discrimination is still very much out there. Nicole shared survival. Elizabeth highlighted in the workplace. Don't be shy. If you want to come off mute, feel free to come off mute. And also share any thoughts that you have when you hear or see the words HIV and AIDS, right? What feelings does it elicit for you? What thoughts come up for you? And just add it, come off mute and share, or feel free to add it to the chat. Anthony, thank you for sharing. Anthony shared overcome safety. Jackie added depressing.
Depressing, yeah.
Remarkable milestones. That's
Yes, Evelyn.
awesome. Yes. So we know that a lot of our perspectives and things like that come from outside sources, maybe media, maybe things that our family have told us. So there are a lot of different ways that we've been given information about HIV and AIDS. So there's so many dope words coming in. So we have a word cloud that was created. So we're just wondering if what jumps out to you and how is that sort of related to some of the words that's been shared? Or as you look at a word cloud that has been created already, what words are jumping out to you?
Feel free to come
Women,
off mute.
children.
Yes, thank you, Evelyn. Women and children.
Treatment.
Treatment.
Transmission.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll say breastfeeding.
People.
People.
Together.
What was that?
I think we heard people from Melissa
said people.
and together from Sandrine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Children.
Children.
Middle income.
Antiretrovirals.
I don't even see that. Look, see,
Hey,
this is why we're doing it. I'm like, where is that?
Where's the antivirus? I'm looking for it. And any more? I know a couple more came through in the chat before we pulled this up. So we have ViiV adding getting help and seeking out a strong support system. Evelyn added also growth. Alex also added strength and resiliency.
I noticed people, this one, the African countries. I remember back in the day, I think when I was like in middle school, when you heard about this, and people was saying like, oh, it came from Africa. That was a theory that people were saying back in the day, and like thinking about how little information and all these assumptions was created around this topic. Like, and it's clearly not true. So then there's a bias against African people. So creating those type of like stigmas create biases around other communities.
And I mean, just to elevate and highlight that point, being of Haitian American descent myself, along with the stigma that was around the African countries, there was a huge misinformation that was shared that AIDS came from Haiti. And so it made life very difficult for Haitian immigrants, which was already a difficult transition, but it added more obstacles and challenges to kind of combat that defamation of character, that defamation of just an assassination of people. And there were countless marches across the Brooklyn Bridge to City Hall to really get that information eradicated, but the stigma still kind of lives. It's still, at times you'll see it in social media, you'll see it in movies at times, still being brought up and perpetuated. So definitely thank you for elevating that point, Taimi.
I've seen, so the first thing that I saw, I don't know if anyone else saw it, but I see living at the bottom, and it feels like bold and it's in red and it's big. And then I saw dying, which is like a smaller word. So for me, I kind of like felt like, hope in just this image that, people, we can live and we can beat the virus, and we don't have to put so much emphasis on, or, have hope that people will be able to live and live their lives. So I just, that stood out to me as I'm looking at it as well.
Right.
And therapy, now that I'm looking at it, even thinking about how many therapy services are available for individuals who have HIV and AIDS as a niche, as a specifically to their population, because, we understand the needs are different. So thank you everyone for that. We, take a picture of this as well, because I know things are going to continue to jump out at you. And also if you can always add to these words as well. So we have a video, it's about 4 minutes that we're gonna watch next, but it really kind of ties a lot of our conversation together and certainly is going to add to what the speakers are gonna talk about after us. So it's a short video. We're gonna watch it intently and come back together to really pull out 1 or 2 things that stood out to us.
Hi, everybody. It's Maddie, Matthew Elliott Scott. Maddie from the block. I'm
Hey,
calling
Maddie.
I'm from Denver, Colorado, and I just moved here from New York because New York has the best treatment and, guidance and groups and everything for my progression in becoming undetectable and making it through having HIV and foster care and also being a survivor of sex trafficking and domestic violence. So I'm here. God bless y'all.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
testimony,
Maddie.
Maddie. Please.
Thank you for checking in.
If you're comfortable,
Yes, I
drop your information
just
in
got
the
my
chat.
phone. I just got my phone back on. I don't know how to do Zoom on my friend's phone, so I'll be just via voice today.
That's
We good.
fine,
You
Maddie.
here? You
It's
here, Maddie
wonderful.
from the block? We love it.
We hear you. We hear you.
Yes, I know somebody knows me on the line. Okay.
No worries. Thank you so much, Maddie, for being a part of it. As Javanya elevated, we're just about to take a couple minutes and
Give me 1
watch this
second.
video, so that we can really pay attention to what's going on here. So, Javanya, when you're ready, you could just press play. Don't forget to highlight some points that are sticking out to you, anything that resonates with you.
Stigma still a thing.
I would say absolutely it's still a thing.
Oh.
Particularly, I just mentioned the issue about women. And
So
really,
Jelani has
I
to
really
come back
didn't
and
do it
unmute her
justice
video.
because it's
So
really a scarlet
that's why you
letter
can't hear it.
for many Black women. It disrupts it disrupts the relationships with their churches in many instances.
You say you couldn't hear it?
We could hear the video.
I could hear it. I heard it.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, I could hear it. But we'll run it back.
Stigma still a thing.
I would say absolutely it's still a thing. Particularly, I just mentioned the issue about women.
That's why
And really, I really didn't do it justice because it's really a scarlet letter for many Black women. It disrupts it disrupts the relationships with their churches in many instances with family members. In 2021 now there's still places where people will ask you to eat off of a paper plate and use a plastic fork and then throw it away after you've eaten because they don't know that you can't transmit HIV that way. Talk about stigma as if you get a paper plate and a plastic fork and nobody else does. So it's very much real. And I think similarly for men who have sex with men, and some of the listening and the work we did in Jackson, I think, which was really a lot of kernel of some of that reporting that happened, is that they described it 3 ways. They said, as a Black male in the South, in the Deep South, that's already 1 strike against you. As a gay man, that's the 2nd strike, and you get HIV, and that's your 3rd strike. And so I would say, absolutely, we've come a long way, because I think you think about the visibility in popular culture, people say, well, there's Pose, and there's this, and there's that. But on the day-to-day basis of people in local communities, I say we're still facing stigma.
Anybody else want to chime in on that?
I agree 100%. I mean, Mark characterized it perfectly. There's no question that stigma still exists with HIV, and unlike other diseases where over time, I mean, you remember sort of in the 50s, they used to whisper about cancer, and now that's people recognize you didn't have to you don't do something that made you get cancer, and it's not something you have to whisper about. And we're still whispering about HIV. I've always said I wish we were talking about HIV at our Thanksgiving dinner table, or just so that we normalize it as a part of the world that we live in, and that people are, as Tyler described, thriving despite HIV. And so if folks can be open about it, the fact that they're living with HIV, then it makes it less stigmatized that that you're going to get a test, or that you're on something to prevent HIV, or that you're on treatment for HIV. And so it does require that we're talking about it more. And then I just to one point is one of the questions that came up around HIV criminalization. You know, there are still states in this country where having sex with someone, if you're HIV infected, is potentially criminalized. And that's a ridiculous thing, but it does exist. But who gets prosecuted for that kind of stuff? Who gets arrested for that kind of stuff? Black folks disproportionately. And so, you know, that's, again, we're talking about topics that can be, you know, the subject of articles. HIV criminalization is certainly one that doesn't get the kind of attention people to understand about it. And those types of laws should be relics, but they're not.
I think there's also laws that aren't explicitly calling out HIV, but are being used against people living with HIV through a very nuanced way to criminalize people based on their HIV status. So, and I think a really great story would be an examination of states that that really are kind of stuck in this moment of HIV exceptionalism, right? They early on wrote laws in their states surrounding HIV, and they've never been updated since 1985. And now people are able to dig in and use that as a weapon against people living with HIV in a they said, she said, he said scenario. And it's just a dangerous, dangerous road when we aren't doing the due diligence to make sure that laws are reflective of the current time that we're living in.
Okay, so the video has come to an end, and we kind of just want to reach out to everyone and kind of see what your thoughts are. What there any resonating feelings for you? Any pointers that kind of stuck out for you? Anything that shocked you? Or what you weren't surprised to continue to hear? Anybody want to just share? You can come off mute or add in the chat. We're happy to receive you.
I jump in really quick. I mean, I wasn't shocked by a lot of things that was said in that video, but one thing I heard was, you know, I wish we could talk about HIV at the dinner table. And my answer to that is, why not? Somebody has to start the conversation. So if we have the knowledge, the people at our dinner table would most likely want to hear from us first, rather than hearing from a stranger that they may not know. If we have that knowledge, that's where the conversation starts. So I've had it at the breakfast table with kids and adults, so I'm not afraid to have that conversation anywhere.
Yeah, that's one
Hi,
thing.
yes, may I please speak?
Go ahead, Maddie.
Okay, thank you so much, because my friend here doesn't believe that I'm in a group chat with everybody that is actual for the change of HIV and AIDS and the stigma around it. And I would like to say that I was born, that my rap starts out, here we go. Hot about the coochie hound crack with a 40 bottle, with HIV looking for a top model. But now I'm looking for the full throttle cuff link down, all the way Steve Madden, can you make me frown? Can you guide me up like a glad bag now, turn frowns upside down, or just like how?
Oh,
Okay, Maddie.
Maddie.
All right, thank
Yes.
you, Maddie. We're sprinkling
Right.
love.
Yes, I love y'all. I just wanted to rap one thing for y'all.
Put your information in the chat, Maddie. I'm sure if you have
my information is Matthew Elliott Scott. Matthew Elliott Scott on Instagram and Facebook. On Instagram is Matthew.Elliott Scott. And then also I have MaddieFromTheBlock.com.
Thank you.
I love it. Okay, Maddie from the Block.
Yes, I plan to come out with lingerie and dance clothes and open up a dance studio where basically all my proceeds will go to HIV and AIDS, where we can end up finding a cure. We can help people get educated, because when my sister first found out I was that I had HIV, she, like the sir said before, like she would make me eat off of plastic plates and plastic silverware, and it was not okay. And it was not okay. And then even the industry, like entering the entertainment industry, it's like when they find out I have HIV, I'm cut from certain roles or even to be able to audition. And I think that's very, like, I want to be able to follow my dream, and I don't want to cry, but I want to be able to be the positive affirmation for the everyday life that you could still be gender nonconforming, have HIV, go through foster care and what I've been through, and still follow your dream.
Thank you, Maddie. Thank you for your testimony. We love having you in the space. Thank you for sharing. Anthony, you wanted to add to Maddie's point?
Well,
Or the
actually,
video?
Suzanne Greens, my thing was, why can't you talk about it at the breakfast table, dinner table, lunch table? And one of the things that I come up with is that some people still don't feel safe. And that goes back to having that conversation. It reminds me of Harlem United, where I'm from. Their name is URAM. And you have to know what URAM stands for. URAM stands for Upper Room AIDS Ministry. And that was the name given to them back in 1985. And that's because people didn't feel safe. So when
my roommate says, thank you guys for having this conversation.
Everybody say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When Jesus' disciples didn't feel safe, where did they go? They went to the upper rooms because they were safe there. So why do we still need the upper rooms to feel safe?
Yeah. Thank you, Anthony, for sure.
Thank you for elevating that point. I think
my roommate would like to say that thank you guys for having this conversation because I have you on speakerphone. So thank you guys so much and enlightening our day today.
Thank you, Maddie.
Maddie and
So
roommate.
we want to really elevate that. We want to make space, hold space, and take space as we have these conversations. There's many people on the line that do have things that they want to share. We want to make sure that we are giving everybody the opportunity. We do have
I'm still with somebody beautiful called Maddie. And he's trying to find.
Sorry. So we do have two organizations, Nicole and Evelyn, who want to highlight some resources that are available. We're at the 4:30 mark. So we really want to give time and space so that we can hear from the resources that are available to us. So Nicole, Evelyn, I don't know who's ready to go. It looks like maybe Nicole, you're ready to press that unmute button.
I'm ready when you're ready.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, Nicole, for being in this space. And we're happy to hear from you.
Yeah, should I share my PowerPoint or can I share my PowerPoint or not?
Yeah, I think you have access.
Yeah, I provide my PowerPoint. Hold on, let me see if I can share it. Oh no, I'm disabled, I cannot share.
You can share now, Nicole.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, let me look for it now. I'm sorry, I apologize. I got
No
caught
worries. We have been in digital.
Take your time, Nicole. Take your time.
Anything we know is that it never works the way we need it to when we want it to.
Yeah, thank you.
Take your time.
And if there's any other questions that you have, put them in the chat so that perhaps Nicole and Evelyn can, tailor some of their content to your questions.
Yeah, thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. So like we know, December 1st marks, the World AIDS Day. And this day is an opportunity to support those involved in the fight against HIV and to improve the understanding of HIV as a global public health issue. Through this worldwide experience, we raise awareness, promote prevention, and educate the public to erase the stigma against individuals living with HIV. And the video before, we talk about the stigma, and it's something that we still see it till this day. And we aren't surprised, and till this time and age, we still have issues talking about AIDS or HIV. And I think that has to come from within the family and all the people to talk up, to normalize, to be able to express themselves in a safe place. But I think we all have to normalize and talk about it every day we get the chance to do it. So let's move on. Yeah, well, let me share something about my COM founder from Translatinx Network. In the early 80s,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Nicole.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, in the 1980s, Cristina Herrera, which I know her for 25 years, watched as her friends began to succumb to the ravage of AIDS. These were frightening days, and she was moved to action. She organized and empowered from within the community, and mostly immigrant trans women, sex workers, people on the margins, mostly in Jackson Heights, Queens. She was an early proponent of the safer sex and early testing. Not so many resources back in those days, and she helped her friends access condoms and barrier protections, healthcare and education. Back in the days, as a sex worker, including myself, we used to buy condoms. We did not get condoms for free, so we've been working a lot. And actually, I also want to mention that when you are a sex worker and you're walking on the street, the NYPD used to arrest you for just walking with condoms and use that as an evidence of sex working. So we had to fight really hard to make sure that we're not going to get arrested.
Thank you for stating that.
Thank you, Mari. Thank you very much. She formally found, she decided to educate herself when in school, and she became, I believe she has a master on social services, and she founded Translatinx Network in 2007. And mostly everyone in this office is trans people, non-binary, and TGNC and GNC, gender non-conforming. We're mostly immigrants and people who come from the Iceland.
Where is your local?
Yeah, I will share my information at the end, Mari, if you give me the chance. Thank you. And, and mostly we all working here because she understands the struggles and everything that we have gone through as an immigrant, people of color, because we mostly come from different countries, different backgrounds, different walks of life. So today, Translatinx Network is a leader in the effort to end the epidemic. We are using both traditional and innovative approaches. We couldn't do without the partnership with Amida Care. Amida Care has been working so hard with us, and we're really grateful for all their support. And now let me tell you what we do. We provide support to newly arrived and long-time immigrants, as well as those who were recently released from detention. Our comprehensive intake interview, build rapport, will help clients recognize their needs. We offer a broad spectrum of programs and services, including immediately assistance for those who recently released from ICE detention or incarceration. We do case management. We support educational supports for all gender identities and sexual orientations. We promote the testing of HIV, hepatitis C, and STI testing and counseling in private. We do HIV navigation services. We have a monthly legal clinic with a lot of the clients, they have legal issues and they need to speak to someone, free of charge. And we also, lately, we have all those trainings that we offer, employment and leadership trainings for people who may want to, find a new job, or maybe just wanted to go out there and advocate or do outreach within the community. We incentivize those people. We also do a lot of peer outreach training, and they incentivize. We offer, food pantry and community closet because the pandemic really hit hard the TGNC community. So we provide these days food pantry and community clothes if they need, especially now in the winter. With a lot of clients, they need winter coats. It's being hard to get in these days. We also provide cultural competency training to decrease stigma. We go to places and we had actually a case that at the Brooklyn Museum, someone was discriminated for being a transgender female, a people of color. And you know what? We as an organization, we request to explain those people how to treat people like you, like me, because we all have a different experiences in life, and we all deserve to be treated just like a normal human being, just like another human being, without any discrimination, without any stigma. So we are the community. You can see here.
Thank you guys so much. I have to exit the interview. I love y'all. God bless you. I'll get all the information I need from Amida Care, okay?
Yes.
Thank you, Maddie.
Thank you, Maddie. Very
Love
nice
y'all.
to meet you. I love your energy. Wow. Thank you. So please, right here is all the thing. You can see we all colors, and we celebrate diversity. Translatinx Network, the commitment to the trans and non-binary communities start from within. As you can see, we got people from TGNC community, transgender, non-binary, gender non-conforming. We have even a gay representative. We got people from all the rainbow we got here, okay? So we have overcome so many obstacles. We navigated through hostile systems. The system has been very harsh to all the people, a lot of people of color, including myself. And if you're a transgender female, undocumented, a sex worker, it's very hard to make, to survive. And especially if you're living with HIV and AIDS, it's more complicated. So we're really trying to work with the community to erase stigma, to educate the community to erase stigma and normalize to talk about living with HIV and AIDS, because it's something that can happen to anyone. It's not, we're not, okay. So we pay, we have overcome obstacles, we navigate often hostile systems and pave the way for generations of trans and non-binary people to follow. Yeah, we're creating the new leaders of tomorrow, hopefully. We celebrate our many successes. Yeah, there's more to do from ending the AIDS and the stigma to increase access to care. Translatinx and Amida Care, we will continue to change the world together, all of us. And I'm so glad you guys invited me and had me here. Thank you so much. I see amazing faces, beautiful, amazing, happy people that you love what you do. And we all doing it. I mean, I'll do it not just for my paycheck. I'll do it because I love it and I love people. And I lost so many friends from AIDS and HIV in the 90s. And it was I'm just glad that we came to a day that we able to take one pill and we're gonna keep going. We got the PrEP. We can actually, you equal you. And it's something that I never thought would happen, because when I was growing up back in Mexico, I was young and people talk about the gay cancer. And me being different, people right away says, you're gonna die from AIDS like the rest. And then when I came to New York, I was 16, a lot of my friends, they got infected. We got infected not from being a sex worker because we use condoms. We got affected for boyfriends or people who say, I love you. And then you trust them and you let your guard down. And when you were undocumented, years ago, we didn't have the resources that we do today. That's why Cristina Herrera created this agency for people of color, for people who look like us. Because back in the days, it was not a place for us, a transgender community, a transgender female, not a place for us to go and talk about issues. We were very harassed by the police. We were basically, if you document it and you're brown, and then you're living with HIV, you don't have a place to go. And we used to get, maybe they get the medications, but how are you gonna pay the rent and how did you get those resources? So thanks goodness for evolution, and thanks for all the work that the people of color and everyone is working together to create a change for all of us, not just for me, not just for the, it's for the whole community. And thanks to all of you, because I know you guys being in the fight, even before me, and that's amazing. I got nothing but respect to you, and thank you so much for having me. And this is the address. That's my code workers, non-binary and proud. So please, whatever you feel like having and stuff, and we cannot have people over these days because of the COVID-19, but please give us a call. We do intakes, we provide services for any clients, and we open for, we open to just like welcome
Nicole,
anyone.
quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I didn't hear you highlight which of the demographics, what age range do you work with or serve?
Yeah, right now we're mostly working from 25 to 65. And these days, thanks goodness, we got transgender individuals living up to 65. Back in the days, used to live up to 40. But these days, we have a lot of senior citizens. And that's a beautiful thing to see people age, because years ago, we didn't get to see it. We do have we do get calls from underage, transgender kids, but we're not ready. We don't have the space. We're still a small agency. Even though we 14 people working together all the time, working really hard, we're still a small agency. But we came a long way from 6 people and just 3 people giving condoms on the street. Now we're 14 people. So yeah, and we're growing.
I hear that, Nicole, and I thank you so much for those services. I also worked in an organization where I went out and did condom distribution. It's not for the faint of heart. You put yourself in really rough positions and places. That work is really invaluable. It's really invaluable, and the community needs it. So we can't thank you and Translatinx Network for being here, sharing the resources, continuing to do the work, and being at the forefront, and really having the E and the Epidemic Foundation going on. And I love to hear it. Thank you so much, Nicole. We have a space for Evelyn, who's going to come in also and going to highlight some of the work. Thank you. That's going to be done. So we want to give the floor to Evelyn as we are inching up on our time ending.
Yes, I will try and be very fast.
No, don't be fast. Be informative. Give us what you need.
Okay.
If we have to stay, we can give you a couple minutes.
Okay, thank you. Nicole, I must say you're doing such a great work. Amida Care, thank you for putting this together. And of course, Reforum Consulting, thank you for making this a space that
Thank you,
makes
sister.
it so
Thank you.
easy and seamless to talk about HIV. As we work in this field for a while, we know it's not always very easy to for people to open up in these spaces, although as in the field it's so normalized for us, watching videos and listening to other people is still very much not normalized, and stigma is out there as we watched. So I'm Evelyn Butcher, and I'm Senior Program Coordinator at the National Black Leadership Commission on Health. As you can see, our name speaks for ourselves. We work primarily with Black and Brown communities, but I will just give you a history of our organization. So at the peak of COVID, at the peak of HIV, as most people know, in the 80s, that's when Black Health, we were Black Leadership Commission on AIDS. That's how we were established. The impact of HIV on the Black community was very high. The Black community was highly hit, and there were no resources available for us. Sad enough, if you're an immigrant coming in at that time, we did notice, or Black Health, our funders noticed that the Black organization or Black community, the churches and the mosques serve as their cornerstone and their run too. So Black Health was actually formed by clergies, very progressive clergies that came together to start this work to provide not just information, but also resources to the Black community during the peak of the HIV pandemic. So we were founded in 1987. As we, in 1995, we expanded nationally and became the National Black Leadership Commission on Health. We currently have about 12 affiliates in Atlanta, Tuskegee, about 12, yes, I can't remember all the states, but we have affiliates in about 12 states. We have in the South as well, because as we just watched in the ViiV Care video, the South remains very stigmatized and very disproportionately affected by any pandemic you could think about, and we can't leave HIV out. So our wings spread to their brothers and our sisters in the South. So we spread nationally then, and we are the nation's oldest nonprofit. We are 34 years old, dedicated to educating, mobilizing, and empowering Black leaders to meet the challenge in fighting HIV. Like I said, we were started by clergies, and in the Black community, if you could get the clergy to stand at the pulpit and talk about HIV, everyone will listen. If you could get the leaders to roll up their sleeves to get tested for HIV, people will get tested. Hence why they served as our cornerstone and why we started. We continue to form capacity building trainings and programs that equip them and provide them with resources to be able to serve their communities and keep their doors open, especially during these times. So in 2010, we added other health disparities to our mission. It's been a journey of revolving from the National Black Leadership Commission on AIDS to National Black Leadership Commission on Health, where we did our rebranding in 2019, recognizing that HIV doesn't stand alone. Although we refuse to call it chronic disease, we call it that because people are living much longer. As Nicole mentioned, trans people are living older. We are all living longer. Why do we stay with just, the name that restricted us? People not in my years since 2000, and I've been working in the field, I haven't read any death certificate that stated HIV or AIDS as the cause of death. It's always a comorbidity. So it was needed that we expanded our mission to change the name to the National Black Leadership Commission on Health, where our mission is to champion the promotion of health and the prevention of disease to reduce disparity and to achieve health equity in the Black community. It's a big task. You might be asking, how will we do that? Our vision is to reduce disparities and to achieve equity, to promote health and well-being of Black communities through advocacy, policy, and action. And that's what we have been doing. We've been advocating, we've been fighting for policy change. In 2015, we were able to get the National Hepatitis Awareness Day. We were part of that policy that was reformed. Our fearless leader, C. Virginia Fields, used to be the Manhattan Borough president. So she's been at the forefront of helping us fight for policies that benefits the communities that we serve being on the ground. So when we expanded, our area of focus now includes HIV, but we've also expanded to add 7 other areas of focus. So we stayed with HIV/AIDS, hepatitis C, prostate cancer, breast cancer, mental health, diabetes, sickle cell, and cardiovascular disease. And I wanted to ask a question here, but I don't think the time will allow me. All these areas of focus that we have listed, data have shown over the years that Black people are highly and disproportionately affected by the in these disease areas and in these fields. And most recently, as of 2020, COVID-19. Most people that have died have been Black people, either with 1 or 2 of these comorbidities. So hence we expanded our focus to add COVID as well, as we had to pivot in the midst of our expansion to include COVID, and to tie in using our work in HIV, we're able to create community health modules that mimic when the pandemic first started. We were in the field providing PPEs before the city was even recommending that they will make some available. We were already doing that. We came up with a new model that kept our people employed, and you asked us how. We employed our block association that employed the guy that stand on the street that nobody wanted to interview for a job. We gave them masks, we paid them to be out there making sure the people they stand on the block with are protected. We recruited the travel agency to make sure that yes, they are closing borders, but they know you, call them, let them come over for food, let them come over for masks. That way we were utilizing every community that we have. Now, through that, I think I skipped way forward, but like I said earlier, 1 in 7 people living with HIV don't know they have it. These are the reasons behind our areas of focus. And in all the areas of focus, I usually don't like to read off slides, but in all the areas of focus, if we go to the next one, you will realize that again, people of color and Black people are highly disproportionately affected by all these diseases than any other race in the United States and globally. I'll just leave the slide up so everyone took it in a minute. Then we'll go to the next one for like 10 seconds. Next slide, please. So why do we expand our area of focus? Black and African Americans face significantly higher burdens in the 8 areas of focus that I just mentioned. These produce health disparities in among the groups of people. Our goal is health equity. Everyone has the opportunity to attain the highest level of health. We believe in health for all. And we say health equity and not health equality, because as you can see, if we are providing equality and if we're fighting for equality, some will get there, others will not. Who will be the people that will not get there? Us. People that look like me, people that look like you. So our goal and our advocacy and our cry has been around equity, because we feel if we do empower everyone to attain health equity, we will get health for all in the United States to start with. And I know Elizabeth said she had experience working in South Africa. I'm originally from Ghana, so health equity is very important to me as a child of an immigrant growing up here. Equality is not enough for us. We have to keep striving and fighting for policies that enable us to have health equity, that you will not have to be fighting for basic access to health.
Right.
Now, the next one, okay. And as I go into our programs, as I said, we've been working very hard at equity and health equity. And we keep fighting and we keep telling people on every platform that we sit on that as we work for advocacy and also for health, we've also noticed that the people that we sometimes vote for impact that. So political equity is also one thing. So when you are making decisions, make decisions with the ones that we know will favor us at the end of the day and keep our communities healthy and strong. So our programs, I'm just going to talk about what our program seeks to achieve versus what the programs are, and I will talk about what each program is. We have all our programs are formed or implemented and designed based on advocacy and policy. Our advocacy and policy module is from, we have a program that's a faith-based initiative that mobilizes faith leaders, clergy from all over New York City. We currently have about 30 to 40 FBOs that are tasked to implement HIV programs in their churches and mosques that are carefully selected in New York City hotspot zones to implement health programs and health outreach food pantries, name what, that provide services to the people that come to them that will usually not have that service. Our community mobilization and engagement model advocates for, like I said, our Block Association, and during COVID, because of our community mobilization, we're able to pick up a phone call and call the most random people. And we started our outreach program with them before the city started making masks available for communities to have access to them. We were already in the street. We were already giving people numbers. When they said, oh, we will open them up by June, we were like, no, we're not doing that. We were out with the big microphones and all. You need to do more before you get us more sick, because if you open and we get sick, we are dying more than any other person. How do you want us to go out there? We also have our health and wellness education, our health promotion and health promotion and disease prevention. We have our leadership training and development and organizational capacity building training. So for each program that we have with all our partners and affiliates, we offer them capacity building training, because we believe unless you equip people with the skills, you are not doing a proactive public health work. So we offer capacity building trainings and technical assistance during all the trainings that we have. We have our youth program, which I will show you. I will show you a short video at the end, a project that came from our youth, because we know this true focus group that not only are they from Black backgrounds, but they are also very highly impacted mentally by COVID. So we did focus group, and I'll show you the results of that. So how do we do our street mobilization, street outreach? This is during the summer. Some of our partners, I think this was out in Queens, we had a fair. This is something I know you have all probably seen before, but this was 2019. Not many people were out. People needed resources, and we were there. So there were lines everywhere. And we had great partners to join us out there. So that's what that picture is. So we had the resource, we do resource for COVID-19 testing and vaccine event. We also do HIV testing as well, referrals, and also PrEP referral. We started our phone banking and testing during COVID-19 to inform the community about the right information, myths versus facts. This is what you need to know. Do this, don't do that type of thing. We also continue to organize webinars. Our most successful webinar that we had was to have the privilege of Chelsea Clinton be a moderator for our maternal health mortality webinar last month. That's over 500 people attending, and that was such needed information, because when we are talking about HIV, we talk about every population, but we forget maternal health, because we believe in the United States is 99% eradicated. There is still that 1%. There's still people traveling here when they are pregnant, and we don't address that. We don't talk about that. So we have that space to have these talks with women that are still birthing HIV positive children, nurses that are working with these children. How are these children doing now? They still exist. They are in the United States. They just don't have the platform to do that. We do these webinars to offer them that platform to also connect with each other and share their experiences and give them a safe space. Next slide. Okay, I already said this, our policy, our policy and our advocacy was because we are the front lines during COVID-19, we became a founding member of the COVID-19 working group in New York City. We organized when the test and trace crop came earlier, or when it first started, they just put the job description on the internet. And people were finding it hard to know what we formed a whole job fair to explain to people what the language meant, because the language was just too technical for a layman to understand. We did that. We also did the test and trace mobile tech. We helped formulate that whole thing that's all over the city now. That is part of our advocacy and policy work. We, in the beginning, if most of you did notice, it was mostly located in NYCHA buildings and all, because these buildings were highly hit, and that's because we kept advocating for that. We also advocated for the early vaccine hub access to Black seniors and offering transportation for them to go get tested vaccinated during that time.
So Evelyn, I know there's like more information to provide. I just want to make sure that we do get, how can we get in contact with you?
Yes.
How can we all stay in contact and connected with you, so that the information that you do have can still be shared and used?
I'm putting my email in the chat, and I think I have someone on there. Vivi, could you put the other information in the chat for me, if you're still there?
And the ages, just to clarify, I know you work with youth, I heard, but if you could just clarify, just what are the ages specifically?
We work with the general community.
Okay, all right, so that's like a birth
8 to 80.
birth to death. Well, it's birth to death
you
because
reach out, we will find somewhere to put you, because we are mostly capacity built in, and so we will. It's all ages.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's a lot of resources that we don't really hear about when it comes to particular topics, especially in regards to AIDS and HIV. We don't really acknowledge the youth, and so I really like to highlight the resources that are still also necessary for them. As you mentioned, you know, there are children still being born to this day with HIV. So what conversations and communities do we have, and resources that we have dedicated for that specific age group? So I really love that your organization is paying attention to not just that, but just the disparities across African American health as well. This has been a super, super informative meeting and just gathering together. We all have shared and kind of just been able to participate in community, just highlighting some of the things I heard today. This is where we're in this place together, as Nicole opened us with earlier. And I think it was Elizabeth who shared, sometimes it feels good just to sit with people. So we had an opportunity to do that today, and kind of elevate each other. So we'd like to just do a quick checkout with everyone, just do a one-word checkout, see how everybody's feeling, how it resonated with y'all, and just staying connected. So put your information in the chat if you haven't already. And we want to respect your time. So just a one-word checkout, how this was for you, what you're leaving with, or just take us out and take us home. Whoever wants to start.
More power.
Oh, yes, power.
Empowerment.
Empowered.
Ready. Inspired in the chat.
Yes, I'm very inspired. Vivi put our information in the chat. I mean, so you could email us if you have any questions or if you need any resources, we'll be more than happy.
Okay. Yeah, a couple more words. A couple people in here. So we got inspired and empowered.
I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the work that you all are doing. We're doing together. It's so good to see it like up and close and personal. You know, you hear about the organizations, but putting a face, a name, it means a lot. So thank you.
Chantal added knowledge is power. Alex added powerful. Definitely have to piggyback off that word. This was very powerful.
Green, ready.
Yeah, Sandrine says ready. Yeah, I think, you know, the work is being done, but it's not being highlighted and spotlighted. And so this was a perfect opportunity for us all to just come together, have that spotlight moment, and really highlight things that are near and dear to us and our hearts, to our friends and our families, and really just take the time to be in community. I forget my friend, Mr. John Wright, who's not here right now, shared, just happy to be in touch and to learn from each other. So just want to leave us with that word. That's how we open the space, and that's how we'll close the space, right? Just happy to be together, learning together. So Sandrine is going to close us out with a quick takeaway. Chantel is also asking if anybody would like to share and speak on their individual stories. Please reach out to Chantel Vaca. Her information is in the chat, so feel free to reach out at kava2149@Columbia.edu. Columbia, okay? Please reach out. All the help is necessary. I already know the work ethic. Sandrine, you have the floor.
I just wanted to thank everyone for coming on today's session. We know an hour and a half cannot even chip at the conversation when it comes to HIV and AIDS, with the advocacy work, the education, medication and treatment, support, how to stop stigma, learning about all the new ways, technologies, groups, resources, and so much more. But I think we touched on the speaking point, right? And we now have that power to know that we can start that conversation. We don't have to wait on it to begin. And we know we have tools in our community with Evelyn, with Nicole, and with so many other community affiliates that we can reach out to. The conversation does not stop here, it actually starts here. And we'll continue the work, and we'll continue doing what we do, because even though World AIDS Day is designated for one day a year internationally, it's a day that we all live with, and we'll continue to remember, to advocate, and to educate in this community. So I want to thank you all for joining, but I want to petition you all to continue the work that we are doing for community, because it is important and you are important. So thank you all for joining us today. Thank you to the team at Reforum Consulting, Javanya, Vicky, Taimi. We appreciate you for leading and facilitating this discussion. Evelyn, we thank you so much for an amazing presentation, along with Nicole. Please, please, please reach out to these organizations, to the National Black Leadership Commission on Health, to Translatinx Network. Their information is in the chat, and always feel free to come to your source. We are here at Amida Care. Visit us at www.amidacareny.org, where you can find links to all of these great organizations, as well as other community resources that we need. And again, thank you guys so much for today's discussion. And we look forward to seeing you on other discussions with us on our member educational town hall sessions, where we take time to break down things regarding your health, navigating your care, talking to your provider, even using our app. So I am doing a plug right now for you to educate yourself in all things related to your health, to HIV and AIDS, and to what is affecting our community, because it just doesn't stop with the HIV and AIDS pandemic. We talked about comorbidities and what's affecting many of our community. So thank you all for joining today. And I see one more hand and we'll join.
Hey, Barbie.
I have a question. Are you going to be putting your info in the chat too?
Which info?
Your info?
My info? Oh, definitely. Our Amida Care info will definitely go in the chat. If you joined late, just continue to scroll up, because there's tons of organization information in there. Jackie dropped the Amida Care information. We appreciate you guys so much again, and we look forward to future conversations with you. Look out for our flyers, text messages, and posts on social media. Follow us, follow Translatinx on social media, follow National Black Leadership on Health on social media, follow Amida Care and Reforum on social media. We are always dropping educational gems for our community. Please, we love you. Have a safe, blessed, and wonderful holiday season. Be healthy and be well, guys.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Happy holidays.